Dear Chartered Accountants, working professionals, and students in the domains of Indian auditing, accounting, and the tax and regulatory space, welcome to podcast of Fca Deepak Rao, a practicing Chartered Accountant.
Daily news and updates for 9th January 2024. Earlier, the SEBI-wide circular dated October 16, 2023 had issued the master circular on short selling and securities lending and borrowing scheme. Now, the SEBI has issued a circular on 5th January 2024 to provide a framework for short selling. Now it is mandatory for institutional investors to disclose upfront at the time of placement of order whether the transaction is a short sale. However, retail investors would be permitted to make a similar disclosure by the end of the trading hours on the transaction day. Further, the stockbrokers shall be mandated to collect the details of scrip-wise short sell positions, collate the data, and upload it to the stock exchange before the commencement of trading on the following trading day. The stock exchanges shall then consolidate such information and disseminate the same on their websites for the information of the public on a weekly basis. Further, the SEBI also said that all stocks that trade in the futures and options segment are eligible for short selling. Apple produced iPhones worth over rupees 1 lakh crore in India last year, having ramped up output sharply from the year before. Of this, made in India iPhones worth rupees 65,000 crore were exported in January to December period. The production figures achieved by Apple have exceeded the targets under the production linked incentive scheme and may allow the company's contract manufacturers to get more residual incentives depending on the outlay. The feat is a win for the government, which has been trying to capture the shift of supply chains out of China. Sony Group Corp is close to calling off its proposed $10 billion merger between its India operations with Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited. First announced 2 years ago in a bid to create India's largest broadcast company, owing to what it sees as the inability of the latter to fulfill several conditions laid down in the merger agreement. The lapses in complying with what are called conditions precedents has added to the simmering discontentment between the suitors, who thus far couldn't agree on Zee MD Punit Goenka being the CEO of the merged entity until he is cleared of charges that he siphoned off money from the publicly traded firm to closely held companies owned by his family's SL group. The Goenka family owns 3.99% equity in Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited. The National Financial Reporting Authority, or NFRA, is planning to annually undertake inspections of major audit firms, including the Big Four, to gauge their compliance, seeking to put in place an oversight mechanism of this kind for the first time. The thinking behind this is to discourage auditors and accountants from deviating from stipulated standards and processes, which will eventually help curb corporate frauds. Such a move by the audit watchdog would be in sync with global best practices. The Public Company Accounting Oversight Board of the US, for instance, inspects each public accounting firm either annually or once in 3 years, depending on the number of companies they audit. The regulator's plan comes after it released, late in December 2023, inspection reports on deficiencies in the audit processes of major firms such as BSR & Co., Deloitte Haskins & Sells, SR Bartley Boy & Co., Pricewaterhouse Chartered Accountants LLP, and Walker Chandiok & Co.
This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.